The hamlet community grew up to the sound of trains
The railroad built this community.
and the sound of water.
Our water is very clean and very good.
Once the hub of the Seaboard Airline Railroad, now CSX, their prosperity isn't what it used to be. Hamlet city manager now fears a future where their health won't be what it used to be either.
We believe that this unprecedented operation poses a threat to the health and safety of our community.
He's talking about this,
On the other side of that pickup is the actual chipper.
a sprawling site on the edge of town, land owned by CSX and now leased to a new company, International Tie Disposal.
These are the kilns to the right.
A place where ITD plans to use a process called pyrolysis to heat old creosote-laden railroad ties from all over the country, creating a new product called biochar, basically carbon, a process many in the community say they don't want anywhere near them.
There's a lot of good people here.
What kind of dressing you want?
People like Lisa and Chad Gardner.
I'm gonna give you the rest of this feta cheese too.
Okay.
Their home and chicken farm borders the ITD plant.
Why would they risk our health?
Not just their health, though.
And these kids, man, I'm telling you,
Chad can't talk about their kids,
there they are.
Star and Tyler,
Got the dog in there too.
without a light in his eyes.
They're awesome.
Breathing creosote might not make us sick, but what about children, grandchildren on down the line? You know, it may not show up for years.
We know creosote is a probable carcinogen.
Jeff Robbins, executive director at Clean Air in Charlotte, agrees with them.
I have real concerns because we know how bad creosote is.
The concerns aren't just about the heating process itself. We'll get to that in a moment. But it's the storage of the railroad ties, seen here piled on the ground,
The buildup of creosote we know is bad for groundwater.
and the creosote-laden dust from chipping the ties.
The soot and dust that's created in that process, if it becomes airborne, is a particulate matter which we measure, gets into the lungs and can cause real issues because it gets past all of the nasal passages and cilia in our lungs.
There's no other company doing exactly this process with old railroad ties. But Biochar Now in Colorado tells me they're opening plants around the country that will.
This is the way of the future.
While ITD didn't respond to emails with questions for this story, James Gaspard, CEO of Biochar Now, is the guy whose company pioneered the pyrolysis process and a close commercial partner of ITD. These kilns were his.
So they purchased equipment from you, and then you plan to purchase carbon or biochar from them, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
basically close the loop.
His current plant in Colorado only does this to wood without creosote in it. But the creosote testing for the ITD process happened on his watch.
If they look at the science and not get emotion involved, the science proves it's an extremely clean process.
Gaspard says the process keeps the wood at a very high temperature inside the kiln for more than 10 hours, breaking down contamination.
About 10 years ago is when we did our first experiments with railroad ties to show that we could remove all the chemicals and just end up with a pure carbon.
But when it comes to all of it, including storage and shipping,
Do you feel like enough testing has been done and enough safeguards are being put in place to eliminate those concerns?
Absolutely not.
over the past 3 years, ITD has cleared nearly every hurdle. North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality granted them their air permit with some restrictions. There's a draft permit now for stormwater. And as you can see,
And I think they feel sure that they'll get the permit.
the company has staged equipment and appears ready to begin operations as soon as that permit is issued.
These companies have decided that Hamlet's going to be the dump for them, and that's what we don't want.
When the city manager says we, he isn't talking about the county.
We believe that when the county rezoned the property, they didn't do it properly.
And our county chose the tax dollars over the community's health, in my opinion.
The rezoning is now the subject of a lawsuit in front of the state Supreme Court. When we tried to talk to Richmond County, they said in an email that the project had been fully vetted by multiple subject matter experts who all agreed the project posed no health risk to the community. When I asked them for a list of the experts who vetted it, the economic developer didn't respond.
So it's pretty much a win-win if people take emotion out of it and look at the science.
Biochar Now CEO believes the fears have no basis in reality.
It's easier to get a permit to use railroad ties in California than it has been in North Carolina.
He owes it to community and to the folks that are concerned to sit down and review that information so that everybody is in full agreement that it is not harmful.
Because at the end of the day, People's air and water controls so much about their health.
Within thousands, a couple thousand feet from our water source that serves over 10,000 people, it's a significant concern for us.
And the community who lives around the corner
They come all the way to the edge.
fears a future that's unknown.
Maybe 30, 40, 50 years down the road, we'll all be gone, but is this going to be another Camp Lejeune or Flint, Michigan? You know, they're going to be talking about Hamlet, North Carolina in the news years to come.
There is one other somewhat similar site in Georgia where the state legislature decided to step in. They were burning railroad ties, but the rest of the process, the storage and shipping, was the same. In that case, the Georgia state legislature passed a law based on the community's health impacts, banning the burning of creosote railroad ties. Jamie?